Elsa, you're going to start?
Yep. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's webinar on our latest guide product, Cloud Suite Industrial Productivity Pack Bundles. Today, Sherry George, a guide consultant, senior consultant, will be presenting, and we also have Randy Kenny, guide product manager, on the line as well. During the presentation, all lines will be muted, and we ask that you use the question box for questions. After the presentation, we will have a Q&A where questions will be answered. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Sherry. Sherry, if you're ready, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the Productivity Pack Bundles. We'll be discussing the features and benefits of each bundle, and I will then be doing a product demo of 3 of the functions within the bundles, and then we'll have a question and answer session. Currently, Guide has 3 pack bundles: Production, Operations, and Factory Track. Leveraging other customers' personalizations, we have bundled Product so that we can lower your cost of implementation. The first productivity pack is a production bundle. It has 6 features. The first one is the copy routing BOM in batch mode. So if you have job orders that have routings that you need to copy, instead of doing it one at a time with the copy routing functionality, you could do it in batch mode. So you could do hundreds of jobs at a time and copy the BOM. This is going to save time with releasing your job orders and your sub jobs. The job order close utility is a functionality that will verify all your material and labor has been issued, make sure that all of your quantities are correct, and it does the work for you. So this is going to reduce data entry, and this is also going to save time in closing your jobs because the system is validating for you. Serial number assignments. This improves the functionality of the serial numbers and the usability of the serial number assignments within CSI. This is going to make the naming convention of your serial numbers more flexible. It's going to save time at the item setup. And then this is also going to eliminate the risk of having the wrong serial number assigned to the wrong item. The next feature within the production bundle is the related items. Currently, the related items is associated with the items form, and you cannot do any filtering within that grid. We've taken that functionality out and made it its own form. So this provides better capability of filtering and managing your related item information. It also improves mass updating of your related item information. The next functionality is your item revision batch processing. So by saving time and updating your bill of manufacturing, instead of using the engineering change notice, which is a very time-consuming process, by updating your bill of manufacturing one by one, we've taken the functionality to revise your items, still allowing you to use the batch replace functionality in current operations and current materials, and still having the history of your revisions. Still, heat code tracking allows you to both track the vendor and an internal heat code number for your steel. You can generate this information at the time of purchase order receiving or miscellaneous receipt. This is going to improve your traceability of your vendor heat codes. If you have a quality issue, the information is more accessible to backtrack for quality issues. The next bundle is the operations bundle. It has 3 features. The first one is the calculated regional value content, which is for NAFTA reporting. The system will calculate the information for you. This is going to save time This is going to save time, and it also is going to minimize errors in reporting. Validating item revision requirements for customers. This is a functionality that at the time of order entry, it's going to validate that the customer has requested the correct revision that is on file. This is going to reduce your shipping errors. This is going to reduce returns, and then this is also going to save time internally with order entry and shipping. Special charges with utilizing customer invoicing. If you have customers that you want to invoice special charges, but it's not an actual item that you're shipping, at the time of consolidated invoicing, it will add that information to the consolidated invoice, and it will eliminate having to manually add the information, and this will reduce the number of invoices, and then this will reduce your administration cost. The third bundle is the factory track bundle. The first feature in the bundle is the job close reporting. So at the time of an end run, which is a labor transaction within factory tracks, this allows you to close your operations and complete your job orders in less clicks. So this is just going to reduce the number of transactions, and it combines the transactions for you. The next feature is the Kanban automation. Currently, the Kanban functionality is a very manual process within Factory Track. We have automated that process with requesting, picking, staging, and receiving. So this is going to reduce the data entry. This is also going to assure that you have the correct amount of material at point of use. The third feature within the Factory Track bundle is the stockroom material returns and issues. This is a form that provides all of the information in one place, so all your materials for a particular job by filtering. This is going to reduce the number of errors in picking. It's going to save time for your stockroom personnel to know what items need to be pulled, and then this is just going to reduce the chances that the wrong material is being pulled. So this is just the listing of everything that we discussed. These are the 3 bundles with all the features, just for a quick look at what is associated with which bundle. Next, I'm going to do a product demo. These 3 functionalities that we chose to demo is because they are some of the most sought out customizations that we see, and it will provide the most cost efficient if you purchase the bundles. The first one we're going to do is serial number assignment, and then we'll do the change item revision, and then the job close utility. So with the serial number assignment, currently in CSI, if you have a serial number and you want to pre-assign a serial number to a job order, the system will automatically expand your serial number to 30 characters. So we have a lot of clients that are unable to have a 30-character serial number. So they want a certain format. So what we've done is we've taken the functionality and assigned a type to each serial number. So on the GT serial and lot reference form, if you notice here, I have this form filtered by 2 types. I formatted the type with a prefix, and then I have a format here. With this format, the YY is a year, M is the month, and then a sequential number. If you notice here, GT Demo 1 has a 5 digit sequential number, and GT Demo 2 has a 4 sequential format. This last number here is just the last number that it's been used in the system. This is how we determine how to pre-assign the serial numbers further in the process. So if you have the month, but you don't want the number as the month in your serial number, and we wanted a letter, we have set up a table called GT serial number month reference, and we have associated the month with a reference here. So for January, it is A, February is B, and so on. So the system is going to use this month, this reference here, instead of making it a number. So once you have the type set up, and you can add as many types as you need to, if I unfilter here and I open it up, I have 10 different types set up. Once I have my type set up, I'm then going to go to my items form, and I'm going to associate that serial lot type to my item. So here are the 3 items that I will be using today for this demonstration. I have serial lot number associated. I'm sorry, serial lot type associated. I still have my pre-assigned serial numbers checked, my serial track checked, which is standard functionality. I do have different types set up per item. So once I add an item, I need to just select the type instead of having to add the prefix here. Then it will go back to the GT serial lot reference. Once I add the items to a job orders form, if it is pre-assigned, I do need serial numbers before I can start using my jobs. So if I look at these jobs here, for example, GT70 with this part number, if I look at the serials, there are no serial numbers associated. Currently, you would have to click the Generate Serial button for every single job that needs a serial number. So what we've done is we've taken and made a utility to do it in batch mode. So if you go to the GT serial, generate serial numbers in batch, here I can do it by starting and ending job. I could do it by earliest start date or latest start date to do filtering. If I leave it wide open, it's going to pull back every job that needs a serial number. Once I click process, everything will be displayed here. I then can determine if I do not want to create a serial number. So if I have a job that's not starting and I don't want a serial number associated with it yet because I don't know what month it's going to be produced, I can uncheck that information here. So if I unselect it, then it will not create a serial number. I can select all and deselect all here. So I'm going to just unselect one. I'm going to click commit and click process. Now the system is generating all my serial numbers based off of the type on the items form that we discussed earlier. If you notice, this was unselected during commit, but now it's selected. It's just telling me that I still do not have serial numbers associated with it. So if I go back to the job orders form that we were first looking at, and I refresh the screen, I now have serial numbers associated. And what it did is it looked at this item, it looked at the serial lot type, and then it determined what the last serial number was, and then it created the serial numbers here. If I go to the job that I did not create serial numbers for, it's still going to need serial numbers. I can click here, I can click generate serial, manually one by one if I need to, and it's going to create my serial numbers for me. It's still looking at the GT serial lot reference and the type associated with the item to create those serial numbers. So with the serial number, the setup is simpler and it will eliminate having to add the serial number prefix to every single item. It also reduces the characters within the serial number if required. The next thing I'm going to do is the item revision batch processing. So currently within CSI, if you need to change the revision of a item number, you will have to go to the change item revision form, and you would have to know what your item number is, and then you would have to tell the system what revision you wanted it to be. It is a one-to-one process. It is very time consuming. If you have a bill of manufacture that needs a work center quantity, a work center's hours updated, and you have 15 or 20 part numbers, you would have to make sure that you did every single one of those part numbers manually. So what we've done is on the current operations, filtering still applies. So if I have a work center that I need to update the setup time for, I'm just going to filter on a work center, actually a prefix of a work center. Currently I have 26 records associated with something that begins with GT as a work center. If I needed to update every single one of these part numbers as a revision, I could click the Update Item Revision button, which is part of the guide product. It's going to determine what the top level part numbers are. Here, if you notice, I only have 8 things listed because the system determined that I had multiple operations for every one of those part numbers. So I only have 8 top levels that revisions would change. If I deselect all, I'm only going to do 1 today just to save time. You can select all. If you wanted to do all of these, you would select all and then you would commit and click process. One thing to note, the revision was 4 and now it was going to 5. So now if I needed to update my information, I can then do the standard functionality, replace value in collection, and do all of it in mass. To save time, I'm just going to change my setup time here from 3, and I'm going to take it back down to 2. But with this functionality, it does allow you to do mass changes. So from here, I was on revision 4 and then went to 5. If I filter in place, now my revision is 5. If I go to the item revision report, I have the item number that I want to filter. I want to look at revision 4 and 5. I'm going to click print. And here, if you notice, for revision 4, my setup time was 3. revision 5 is now setup time 2. So with this functionality, the system determined what items I wanted to revise. It also allowed me to do mass changes on current operations with the standard functionality replace value collection if needed. And I didn't have to remember one by one going to each item on the change item revision. So let's say I have a purchase part that the quantity changed for all bill of manufacturing. I could go directly into my current materials. I can filter, so this is the part that needs to be updated. I can filter that information. It's going to pull back all the records that are associated. So with my top level items, I have 4 top level items that have the purchase part number 2 associated with it. If I needed to change the revision, I could go to update item revision. Here it's going to look at the part number. It's going to tell me what the revision is currently and what the new revision is going to be. I'm just going to unselect a few just to save time. If I click commit and click process, it will bring back the 2 that were not completed. I can close this form now. And here I can change, let's just say I need to change the quantity from 1 to 2 for the GT, the finished good number 2. If I go back to the items form and filter in place for that part number, my revision is now 11. If I go to the item revision report just to verify that that information has been updated, I'm just going to look at revision 10 and 11. If I click print, it's going to pull up the report. And here, revision 10 for purchase part 2, it was a quantity of 2. For revision 11, it is now quantity 1. So with the item revision batch, it does save time with allowing you to do current operation filtering and current material filtering. The system then will look at all of the parent part numbers that would need to be revised. It determines the revision for you. It then also revises the part number to the next number in line. And then you don't have to do the change item revision manually, and then you won't miss anything with your revisions in the system. The next functionality that I will be showing is the job close utility. So these are the jobs I'm going to be working with today. For this job here, if I go to my engineering board, I have a top level job, suffix 0. I have 3 other sub jobs associated with this job. They're also the sub job 1 is associated with suffix 2 and so on. So if you have a situation where you have jobs and you have sub jobs, if you want to validate that the sub-jobs are completed prior to job close, it is a little bit time consuming to make sure everything has been issued correctly. So with this utility, if I go to unposted job transactions, just to show you, for this job here, I have a quantity of 5 released. I'm expecting 5 have not been completed. If I go to unposted job transactions, where you would add your move and run transactions, there's nothing has been added. So for my job close utility, if I add the job number, and I add the quantity, once I click preview and click process, I will get a message that the job was successful. What that is doing, it's validating that there are no materials that haven't been issued that are not backflushed. It's looking to make sure that all your labor transactions have been posted, and it's just verifying that everything has been systematically set up correctly. If I look here, I do have serial numbers associated with it. So if I click here, it will pull all the serial numbers from the job order on the serial numbers tab. If I take the quantity to 3 and click preview, it will unselect 2 of them. It will just take the first 3 in line. Once I'm ready, I can click commit and click process. I'm going to say okay. From here, I can go on to my next job if I have multiple jobs to close, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go to unposted job transactions and show you the information that it created. So what the utility did, it created all the move transactions for all of the parent job and all the sub-jobs associated with it. So it created 13 move transactions with a couple of clicks with the GT job close batch utility. And if you've ever done these transactions, you know at some point this is very time consuming. If you have many operations per job, it can get very, very time consuming. So once I have all my job moves, I do just do standard functionality and go to post job transactions. I'm going to leave it wide open because it only has the job that I was working on. I'm going to click process. I'm going to say okay. Once that's completed, right now it's posting all my dollars, and it's posting to my job orders, and it's moving the quantity into inventory. If I click refresh here, now if you notice here, I have this job, the statuses are all incomplete, and then my quantity has been completed. If I go to the item stock and locations, I will also see that the quantity has been moved to inventory. If I go back to the GT job close batch utility and I want to do my next job, I'm going to click process. If you notice, I have a message that tells me that it's not successful. So what that is telling me is that I have a purchased part that is not backflushed. I need 20 of them and nothing has been issued. It also tells me my quantity on hand with nettable locations. So if you have a situation where you need to do your sub jobs prior to your paired jobs, you want to close out the sub jobs, you can do that also with this utility. So I can just type in my part or my job number. And I'm going to do a sub job 2 with a quantity of 2. If you notice here, it says job close utility was successful. I'm going to click OK. Once I do preview and process, I can commit and process. I'm going to say OK. I'm now going to go to my unposted job transactions. And again, you can do multiple job close at the one time and then go to post and post all your jobs at one time to save time. For demo, I'm just doing it one by one. So I closed sub job 2, but because the part number for sub job 3 was associated with 2, it also did the move transactions for the sub job 3. So here I want to post my job transactions. And I'm going to just filter on the job that I was working on. So if I look here, job suffix 0 is still a release status with the quantity of 1 because I did not do that transaction. Suffix 0 is still not completed because it wasn't associated with sub job 2. So if I look at sub job 2, that will be completed with the quantity, and also sub job 3 is completed. Now, with that said, because these are all associated, if I go back to my job close batch utility and then I do 0 as the suffix, and I add my quantity, and I click process, and I say OK, and commit, the system is verifying that all the sub jobs are completed. If they're completing it, if they're already completed, it skips it. So here it's only doing suffix 0 and 1 because 2 and 3 have already been completed. So it's already validating that for you, and you don't have to look to see if it has been completed or not. Once I post those transactions, click process. Now it's doing the posting for my jobs. If I go back to my job orders and refresh, now suffix 0 and 1 have been completed also. So with the job close utility, you can continue to do all your jobs one at a time. It will validate all your material, all your labor. It will give you exceptions if something hasn't been done, so you do not manually have to determine if all your material has been issued or if all your labor has been posted. The system will do it for you. You can do as many jobs as you need to, and then you can go straight to post job transactions. So this is going to eliminate human error with making sure that all your material and all your costs have been calculated properly. And it's just going to save time with closing your jobs. So those are the 3 products, or the 3 functions of the products that we wanted to demo today. Now we can have a question and answer session, and if you have any questions after that you think of after we get off the line, you can email myself or Randy Kennedy.
All right.
Elsa?
Yep. Thank you, Sherry. like we had a couple that came throughout the presentation. First one is, if there needs to be modifications completed to a functionality of a bundle, how is that handled?
You want me to handle that one, Sherry?
Yes.
Yeah. Just if you guys didn't pick up, or Sherry is not feeling well and a real trooper to get through this today. So thanks, Sherry. I think you were in ICU last night, you said. So, thanks for getting through everything today. But anyway, back to the question. Yeah, so if there are modifications, and we have this from time to time, although the features that are in these bundles are routine type things that customers want, and but if there are modifications that's specific, we would handle that with a specification first, make sure we get the requirements, and then quote that as a separate SOW.
Okay. And let's see. Second question. You mentioned 3 separate bundles in the presentation. Can an individual feature be purchased separate from the bundles, or can we mix and match only those that seem of interest?
Okay, I can handle that one as well. So you can't purchase an individual feature. It would be too hard to kind of maintain and manage who has what. But what we did do is we made sure to package and price the bundles in such a way that really, if you only wanted 1 or 2 of the features that were of interest to you, it would more than pay for itself versus developing each feature as kind of a one-off customization. So all of the bundles were packaged that way intentionally to give you, again, even if you only wanted 1 feature, to give you some immediate value. But then as in future, if you have interest in some of the others, they're there automatically, and just a matter of starting to use them for future use. And also, if you saw on the registration page, we mentioned an offer that we're currently running, a promotional offer that will allow you to get essentially all 3 bundles for just over the price of only 1 bundle. You basically get all 3 at a 50% discount when you compare it to purchasing each one individually. So that's running through the end of March. So right now is a good time to really get these. And again, if this being a webinar format, we can only show so much, but if there are specific things of interest, we can set up personalized demos and go through these in more detail. We only have so much time in an hour webinar format.
Okay. And looks like with that, we don't have any more questions coming through today. If you are looking for more information on the guide products for CloudSuite Industrial, please visit our website. The product pages now are live. It's under Product Store. You'll see more information and a contact us if you would like a more personalized demo for your company. Randy, unless you have any other comments for today, I think we'll wrap up a little early. We thank you all for joining.
Yep, no, I don't have anything else. So yes, appreciate, it looks like something just came through. I just saw a question come through, Elsa. Do you see that one?
Yep, right now. Does the job close utility only work if back flushing labor and material?
No, if it is not back flushed, if you notice when I did the one job, I had a material that was not back flushed, and it gave me an exception because I did not have it issued. Labor is the same way. You do not have to have back flushing for labor and material.
Okay.
Great. Okay, yeah, and I believe we recorded this, Elsa, and you'll distribute it and probably be on our YouTube page and in other formats that people can get to it, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right, very good. Well, personally want to thank everyone for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.